Classic Plus announcement is coming soon. Here is why. Mad Season made a video. Fellow Crusader, former Crusader, used to be in our guild. Mad Season and I ranked together in Classic WoW. Great friend, great dude. We love Mad Season. So let's check out his video. He says Classic Plus announcement is coming soon, and here is why.
Alrighty, it's about that time again. So I noticed that there is a startling shortage of Classic Plus videos on the internet today, and I decided that I would rectify things with another one here for you. Because of this one's going to be my manifesto, or my thesis on why I think most signs are pointing towards an announcement at this year's BlizzCon, which is occurring in September.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and chime in here. I think everybody thinks that there's going to be an announcement this year for something, but then the question is like, will the announcement be for the following year, or will it be for the next year after that? And I think if they want to do a Wrath Classic, which I think they probably will, or sorry, a Wrath Classic Anniversary, even though I don't like Wrath of Lich King that much, like I'm not a big fan of Wrath of Lich King, I will not play Wrath Anniversary. The current rendition of my guild, we're only playing Burning Crusade. If people want to continue afterwards, that's fine. I think that they'll do Wrath Classic, do that for a year, and then the following year would be like Classic Plus.
But to be serious, I did do a search for something along these lines, and I couldn't find anything as autistic as what I'm about to provide for you.
Okay, so let's see.
It might actually have some new information that you maybe haven't considered, or at least information that, when it's all put together, tells an interesting story. Classic Plus, it is quite the enigma. Most everyone knows what it is, and yet still, no one can agree on what it is, or when it'll be out. Will it be good or bad? It's probably one of the most defined, undefinable products in the history of gaming. But I'll try my best to compile all of the most common things that you see about it. So Classic Plus is mostly generalized with the idea of the original base game, vanilla, after its final 1.12 patch. Instead of going through the Dark Portal, like in the Burning Crusade expansion and similar ones after it, the game instead continues on in the old world, in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor.
Okay.
New content is added that follows the spirit and design of the original base vanilla version of the game, with new raids, dungeons,
give them the Ashbringer, I like it,
zones, and even
a Shara Crater,
classes,
the battleground,
specializations, professions, and other similar features
Hyjal,
in line with classic MMORPG.
So this is in vanilla right now.
So as you probably know, when classic 2019 vanilla ended in 2021, Blizzard instead opted for the safer route of just going down the list of expansions released in their original chronological order, with similar phasing schedules to roughly match their releases. And as of today, they've reached all the way to the Mists of Pandaria expansion, and that's all well and good, but considering that for many people the end of the classic version of the game ended in Cataclysm.
Here's my question. Do you guys think they're going to do Classic WoD? Do you guys think they should have done Classic Mists? I feel like Classic Mists was kind of this, they were stuck between a rock and a hard place, because didn't they just do like Mop Remix? I feel like they just did Mop Remix, and then the retail players liked Mop Remix. But I think for a lot of people, Mop is like the classic WoW of retail. I was like, wasn't Classic WoW the classic WoW of retail? It's like, not really. Because if you really separate the games, I think Mists of Pandaria is, a lot of people like Cataclysm was like the beginning of the end. Or like Cataclysm was like the definitive moment which the game changed. In hindsight, Cataclysm was kind of like the transition period. Mists of Pandaria was like, okay, now we are in the current retail era of World of Warcraft. That's what I think. And I think Wrath was kind of the beginning of the end. I think Wrath was whenever they started introducing some systems that snowballed out of control, or really like other problems like itemization stuff kind of came to a head. And then they got to Cataclysm launch, and they were like, okay, we need to change a lot of these things. Like the class design, we got to figure it out. So there was like a big revamp, but it was really just a transition period for the game leading into the definitive, the class balance, the class design, all parts of the game had really changed, even to the point of having like one race for the new expansion that could go to either faction. Like, to me, that's like a definitive retail WoW thing, where you can choose what faction your race goes to. Sounds kind of crazy. It makes me sad for your prediction for 2 years away, since you're the one going to Blizz and probably know more than anyone. It's like you don't really know anything, right? Only makes sense if the race itself changes somehow when you go to either faction, High Elf versus Blood Elf. I feel like it needs to have a different silhouette. Like it needs to, because like part of it is you don't really notice like how their face looks or like the markings on their face. Okay, anyway, let's continue.
It's left quite a big discrepancy with what these players want and what Blizzard is providing, with many even turning to the independently run private servers to fill in that
Makes
void,
sense, Trojan.
as was evidenced with the
Oh, let's see this. Oh, let me go back a second.
Players want and what Blizzard is providing, with many even turning to the independently run private servers to fill in that void, as was evidenced with the almost overwhelming popularity of the Turtle WoW server, which just recently announced.
So I think that Turtle WoW did a lot of good things. And while a lot of people say that Blizzard should just basically do exactly what Turtle WoW did, I don't know. Not because the things that Turtle WoW did were bad necessarily or whatever. I think if you have the ability to, like, you're Blizzard, this is your game. You can do more with it than just like kind of jerry-rigging the game together and modding it into something crazy, right? I think they have the capability of doing better. That's what I should say. With that being said, I think the High Elves, I think High Elves are like a home run. I know I mean, like, for example, Turtle WoW, like with High Elves, like, yeah, they can just take all the animations and everything that like is already in the game with Blood Elves, and that's basically a High Elf, right? I think it's the color of their eyes are different, right? High Elves have blue eyes, Blood Elves have green eyes. But other than that, they're like the exact same. I'm a big proponent of High Elves for the Alliance. Now, here's the problem that you come with is, like, a lot of people say High Elves for the Alliance, Ogres should go Horde. The problem that Blizzard had originally whenever they created Burning Crusade, they're like, Horde has no pretty race. We need a pretty race for the Horde. I think personally, I think that's dumb. That's my own personal opinion. I'm a big believer in Warcraft, and that, Horde is ugly and brutish. Now, to be fair, Blood Elves actually, like, the more you kind of play them, it kind of makes sense that they're Horde. They could kind of fit either way, like Blood Elves here, High Elves there, but just kind of the eyeball test. Anyway, continue.
It's evidenced with the almost overwhelming popularity of the Turtle WoW server, which just recently announced its shutdown after a legal battle with Blizzard. Blizzard has flirted with the idea of Classic Plus, with the closest to date being their seasonal servers.
I said this whenever they announced Season of Discovery. I've always thought this. I thought Season of Discovery was basically a beta for Classic Plus.
First, you had this Season of Mastery, which made various raid balance changes.
Season of Mastery kind of sucked.
Increase the overall difficulty of the PvE portion of the game, which a certain amount of the player base were disappointed with in the 2019 run.
I think they just did it bad. It was too early. It was too soon after original Classic, whenever like Burning Crusade and stuff was going on, and they just did it bad.
That there's the more intense Season of Discovery, which held quite a few changes, but the most notable being the rune system, which changed the class balance and their functionality and quite drastic.
So the rune system was cool. They revamped it and they got rid of like all the discovery portion of it because it was just too much.
There were some other things such as
I think Sod was overcooked, Som was undercooked.
Near the end, some pretty popular requests within the realm of Classic Plus, such as a new Scarlet Monastery raid, as well as a quest line for the legendary Ashbringer. Overall, it was kind of a mixed bag, and people were pretty split on it, with some people loving it and some people really disliking it. So there's been a large demand for it for quite a few years now.
Grim Reaches, level 33 to 30. Is this Turtle WoW stuff?
Some people loving it and some people really disliking it. So there's been a large demand for it for quite a few years.
So I'm a big believer in this for a Classic Plus. Level 30 to level 50 specifically is such a pain point for the Alliance and the Horde at different parts. And it would be really nice to have, I mean, there's so many spots on the map that you can open up. Like, take the silhouette of the world of Azeroth. There's so many zones that you could potentially go to and really flesh out this world. I do think it'd be a good idea. And I think Grim Reaches is a Turtle WoW thing. So like Turtle WoW had a lot of good ideas, really. Do you think they might repeat some ideas from Sod and Classic? Like having a Scarlet Crusade raid, which is a really cool idea. It'd be a shame if they scrapped that just because they already did it. I think that they will probably repeat some things from Sod, but I don't think they should repeat a lot. I feel like Sod was kind of the playground. It kind of felt like a private, like a fun server, like a private server where like they just mess around with stuff. It didn't really like feel like a fully finished Blizzard product. It kind of felt, to me, it just felt weird. Like, it didn't feel like Classic. But I do think there's some stuff that you can learn from it. Like Karazhan Crypts, Scarlet Enclave, like they did some cool things, right? Maybe they pull from that. Felt like a Carnival Ride server and it didn't even feel like WoW to me. Yeah, I mean, that's just how I felt. I think phase 1 was really good, but I said this whenever Sod launched. I said, hey, this is gonna snowball out of control, I promise. And like at level 25, when you have like a full level 60 kit, you know, it's just gonna be that way.
And certainly a lot of frustration, especially with Blizzard not providing
Telebeam.
it. And also now shutting.
See, this is one I really think they should add. I think if they went and added like Telebeam, Coltiris, even add Kazan, whatever, however you pronounce it, I think it'd be great. There's so much that you can do. I think if you do that, the goblins should remain a neutral race. I think goblins should remain neutral race in WoW. And okay, when I mean neutral, I mean not as a playable race, like the way it is with the Steamweedle cartel and all that. And then you can have like this place, and you could have Kazan be this isle that's basically the Steamweedle isle. And imagine a world where you expand on the Bloodsail Buccaneer stuff. So in vanilla WoW right now, you can like kill a bunch of guys in Booty Bay, Gadgetzan, whatever, and you can grind your Bloodsail Buccaneer rep up. Like that is cool. I think that is cool. Now, when you do that, it makes everybody there aggressive to you, and you can't really use those cities functionally. It's pretty nifty. Like I think that's like a cool thing. So what if they expanded on this idea and gave people an opportunity to align with the Bloodsail Buccaneers a little bit more? And then it's like, okay, you can use Kazan, you can use like the Isle for whatever thing it is. Like if it's like some mega zone of, you know, it's a neutral capital city or whatever it is, right? I don't know. I haven't thought this out yet. This is like stream of consciousness. But expand on the Bloodsail Buccaneer stuff, and maybe you can earn more like cosmetic things like the Bloodsail Buccaneer hat or anything like that. Even a title. I think titles are good to have in like a Classic Plus. I think this kind of stuff, and having kind of like a South Seas, because people always talked about a South Seas expansion in WoW for years. You could do that. You could have like a big South Seas patch or an expansion in a Classic Plus. I think this would be like a cool sort of addition. Anyway.
Down the actual Classic Plus Turtle WoW. If you look in the comments of this video, most likely people are not going to have a very Plus Turtle, with Blizzard not providing it, and also now shutting down the actual Classic Plus Turtle WoW. If you look in the comments of this video, most likely people are not going to have a very fond opinion of Blizzard, but whatever you think of them.
What is, I don't know what this is. I don't know what Balor or Lapidus Isle is.
Or not going.
Are these like things that it made up? They just made up.
Fond opinion of Blizzard, but whatever you think of them, the point of this video is to just give you the information of why I think there's a 99% chance that it's probably going to be announced at BlizzCon, at least in some capacity.
New stuff, new zones.
Starting here first with some older information.
Interesting.
And that's the survey. Several months ago, Blizzard started sending out surveys to players, which requested for them to not share them publicly, but because it's the internet, of course, that's the first thing they did. It held a variety of questions, many of them relating to typical features and elements related to Classic Plus. This is something that we didn't actually cover previously, but what makes it relevant to this video is that despite its age, none of these features
I want to read some of these
related to Classic Plus.
I mean, I've seen people talk about having like a 1v1, like a gladiator dueling arena or something, like a duelers league. A lot of people have talked about that in vanilla.
Typical features and
could be cool
related to Classic Plus. This is something that we didn't actually cover previously, but what
new player character models similar to these players in modern WoW. What do you guys think about this? If they use, for me, this is a deal breaker. Like I would hate this. Like if you wanted to put in some modern graphics, like modernize it a little bit with like the lighting, like, you know, you have ray tracing, you have volumetric lighting, you have this kind of, that's one thing. In fact, that could be kind of cool. I know there was this like rumor of like private server doing Unreal. I mean, it might've been Turtle doing like trying to remake the game in Unreal, like Unreal Engine 5. I wouldn't want that. I think that would like lose the charm of the game. But something else that has made the game lose its charm for a lot of people is like the retail models. I think retail models, like I don't like them at all. I think they don't look good. They look kind of goofy, derpy. Some of them, they're not that different. Like some of the elves kind of look the same, but man, like Tauren just look like freaking plushy dolls. Dwarves look stupid. Humans look stupid, right? A lot of these are kind of dumb. You're brave man. I cannot trust my memory to talk about Classic Plus subject with any potential NDA. Yeah, but what if that's not what happened? What if what everybody says happened is not what happened? Yeah, very bouncy, dude. Everywhere you're running like this, the humans, like they just look stupid. You know, what do you think about Classic Plus adding vanilla style identity class systems, like Paladins having a brotherhood system where they protect towns and assist low level players in low level zones, rogues use smuggling networks, warlocks perform rituals? I feel like at that point it's like a different game. We're like talking here and we need to start here. You gotta build the base before you get to that point. That's all. More polygons, but keep the classic art style. Do you agree? Maybe. I don't like the hair in retail, like for a human anyway. Like I think the hair options look bad. I think the animations are bad. I think the faces look stupid. I think pretty much like It just looks dumb. People do it all the time in indie games with retro styling. Yeah, keep it the same graphic style, but add new assets, build upon the game as if it was still in 2004. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I think basically you continue the game's design as if it was 2007, whenever Burning Crusade came out. Burning Crusade came out January 2007. It's like, hey, right before Burning Crusade came out, let's say the game just took a different trajectory. That's the way that I see it. A lot of the same sort of design principles, keeping the soul of the character design, class design. Now, a lot of this is like, there's so many different parts of building a game and building an MMO where you have like, so you have level design, you have quest design, and level design being like the map and the worlds and stuff. You have the art, but what is the art? The art is character models, it's the texture, it's the armor models. Like, there's so many different parts to this. And each single one of these things has changed drastically over the years. To cut it short, I mean, there's a lot more that we can talk about this. In my opinion, I think that you kind of just need to keep the game going from that point forward, as if you were continuing those same sort of design principles, keeping the soul of what the class was. I think that a lot of the class design over the years, it kind of like lost its soul from vanilla, kind of a little bit through Burning Crusade, but mostly like as Wrath came in and Cataclysm, and there was like this period of time in WoW where it over homogenized the game. Everybody can do everything. It's cool that certain classes can't do a certain thing, or they can't do a certain thing as well. It's cool that there's an identity. The tanks, druids are your big beefy tanks. They have really high armor. They can like take the most damage. Warriors, jack of all trades. You will never have a problem with having a warrior tank. They have the most, you know, active abilities for tanking, most cooldowns, all that kind of stuff. High heavy armor class, they're like kind of your flagship tank. Paladin tank, they're your AoE tanks. You know, they might not be quite as beefy. They might be, you know, they have a lot of spell power, and that's like the fantasy is like the big AoE pack. You gotta tank a bunch of stuff AoE. That's your class fantasy there. I would even take it a step further. I think the class, oh my gosh, I'm starting going on a whole tangent of other stuff, but I'll just say this last point. I think when it comes to class design, they need to promote and build upon the current play styles of the individual classes in vanilla WoW and enable them to be even more, to be E plus what they were, if that makes sense. That includes some things like, hey, maybe you do throw shaman tank a bone. I don't think like you should have rogue tank, warlock tank, everybody tank, mage healer. I think those are weird. I don't like that. But I think like specifically like a shaman tank, you want to throw them a bone and make them like, hey, I could have a shaman tank a 5-man dungeon. That's fine. I think that's totally cool. But kind of, you know, before we go much farther down the rabbit hole, let's kind of tie it back to this video. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I just tell me what you think. For new player character models, what do you guys think about this in like a Classic Plus? For me, this would be a no. Like, I would hate this. Just keep the old ones, no, unnecessary, big no, nay, no strong feelings, hard disagree, higher resolution only. It's just a waste of dev time to make the new models. Yeah. Have you recently watched the old 2005 BlizzCon design presentation on the WoW? No, but I want to. I found a YouTube channel of like Jeff Kaplan talking about a bunch of stuff. And maybe we will watch that the next couple weeks. Do lower resolution. Just go even lower.
Makes it relevant to this video is that despite its age, none of these features have been seen in any version of Classic, despite it having like 5 different versions at this point. So all of the information that they've gotten from this survey has yet to be utilized in any public way. So maybe they're just doing nothing with it, or maybe they're using it to guide them with this currently theoretical Classic Plus. Next, we have the 2025 Blizzard Yearbook, which details some milestones for the various games. In this yearbook is, of course, a section about Classic.
I remember I did this. I posted this on Twitter.
Down with a bang in the Scarlet Enclave. This was the Scarlet Crusade raid I mentioned.
And then I was like, Classic Plus confirmed.
Future of World of Warcraft Classic, eyes emoji, and just below that are a series of plus signs. Now, if you're in the Elder Scrolls trailer analysis community, this alone is probably at least a 4-hour video. But due to the large Classic plus-sized elephant in the room and this following is...
By the way, hold on. Show Hurricane's older WoW trailers when he did them as a fan. It's an easy thing to point out on how to use the same graphic aesthetic, but slightly upscaled. That's great. But you know what? So Hurricane does the trailers. WoW Burning Crusade anniversary trailer. So this was, remember, I like freaked out whenever I saw this. I was mad. You know why? And we love Hurricane. But tell me what you notice about this. This is the Burning Crusade anniversary trailer. Disgusting behavior. Disgusting. This is a psyop by Blizzard to slowly try and get in your minds and slowly try and make you more and more accustomed to retail models. This is my grand conspiracy. Just like I said when Burning Crusade Anniversary launched, I said, you know what? These guys, these freaking bastards, dude, what are they trying to do? They're trying to freaking mind control you. They're trying to get in your heads. That's what they're trying to do. Disgusting. Disgusting behavior. I hate retail more than I hate Grayson. Look at them. Look at them. Hey, Hurricane. Private server community veteran Hurricane, now hired by Blizzard. Fellow private server brother. Make a new trailer for us, but make sure you use those sweet, sweet retail models. Disgusting behavior. Disgusting behavior by Blizzard. Absolutely shameful. How could one have no shame as to sully the good world of classic WoW with these disgusting, offensive models to me? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if they would actually do that. But but I did notice that whenever this came out and I was pissed. I was like, they're doing it. They're trying to get in your head.
Snippet about the Season of Discovery, which is Blizzard's closest thing to Classic Plus so far. Many people see this as a tease for an official Classic Plus, which I think is reasonable. Throughout the development and run of Season of Discovery, if you notice, the developer said many times that the whole thing was an experiment and they wanted to see what worked and what didn't work. Quoting the team directly in this blue post, we have Season of Discovery was always meant to be an ephemeral seasonal experience, and while it became so much more for a time, we're extremely excited about the things we're working on for the future. So the thought process here being that the reason for an experiment is to gain information for a bigger project. So I take this as the Season of Discovery, especially due to its eventual end date, was just this testing ground for a more solid foundation for presumably.
I agree completely. I said this, I was on the floor at BlizzCon.
This is true. This could even give you a rough idea of what their version of Classic Plus could be based on the feedback of Season of Discovery. You know, what did players generally like and dislike about the season? That itself is up for debate and would set this video way off focus, so I'll just leave that for you to argue about in the comments. Next up, we have the 2026 State of Azeroth. This is a new thing they're doing, I guess. It's kind of like a mini preview of what's coming up in the year for all forms of World of Warcraft, Classic included. And while the 2026 version was more focused around housing in retail WoW, now they're adding a 7th form of monetization to the game. Yes, I counted. They did also have this weird mention / tease of Classic that's, well, I mean, I'll just play it here for you.
And that's not all we're cooking up. I can say with confidence that all Classic players across the globe have a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited to announce that... I guess we'll save that for later.
Did you get that? I'll play it again.
I'm really excited to announce that...
The numbers! Pepe Sylvia meme.
One more time.
I'm really excited to announce that...
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. It's Holly something. But yeah, this was the big tease. So, a rational person would say, they wouldn't blue ball the players unless it's something really big, right? And obviously the biggest thing that they could do is Classic Plus, without a doubt. But hold on. This is Blizzard Entertainment, who, aside from the Cosby Suite, are entirely out of touch with their player base. At this point, there's been quite a rich history of them hyping something up, and then it turns out to be a mobile Diablo game or something.
To be fair, Diablo is kind of owning right now. People really, really like Diablo right now. Hey, I'm super new here. Is this a normal stream length, or are you celebrating something? Either way, pretty cool. But we're just getting started. Extra mild sauce. We're just getting started.
We'd also like to let you know that the forges here at Blizzard are burning hot. And we have multiple Diablo projects in the works.
3 weeks later.
The current plan is to be
Yeah, this
on
is a really
mobile,
bad time in
both,
Diablo's
Android
history.
and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Yep, that's me.
You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
You guys all have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
This is a really, really bad time for Diablo. This is amazing.
Yeah, remember that shit? Oh, we got some big news for you Diablo fans. A fucking Netflix series that never saw the light of day and the raping of your childhood. So this could go either way. If Blizzard were normal, this could be taken as a clear tease for Classic Plus, but as we know, they're not normal. Next, we have the
Vel, thank you for
Agrand
the
post.
50 months,
Earlier
dude.
This year in January, Agrand announced his diminished involvement with the 2019 line of Classic, which again is in Pandaria, as well as Anniversary, which is now
True, that was
returning
another thing
crusade
that
with
Agrand
level
said.
boosts and likely soon the WoW token. Told you so, by the way, just in case you forgot, because I definitely didn't. But in the same post,
Here's the thing, though, with the WoW token. It's crazy because people are now asking for the WoW token. And I understand why the WoW token works the way it does. I understand the math. But, like, it's just so lame. It's just so cringe.
in the same post, he announced
Thank you
his
for the 100
change
bits.
from production to design and that he's working on the future of Classic. But if that future isn't anniversary of the 2019 line, what could it be? That leaves only a new project, and some people conclude that what new project could it be other than Classic Plus?
Right.
And lastly, we have a repetition of history. Earlier, we talked about the
Turtle WoW got shut down, and then that Nostalrius and the other private servers got shut down. Then we got Classic.
Very highly received, and because of that, it became quite popular. And because it became popular, it pinged Blizzard's radar, leading to the lawsuit and upcoming shutdown. And I mentioned this because of two things.
Dude, poor guy,
the
Shagu.
lawsuit and
So this lawsuit happened. This guy, Shagu is an add-on developer, and he was thrown into this, but he's an add-on dev. Like, I used to use Shagu's add-ons years ago. Shenna and Kroggy. Where's Kroggy's in this? Was Kroggy in this? Shenna and Kroggy being in this was crazy because there was like a big conspiracy that the people running Elysium were running Turtle WoW, and Elysium had like a big drama where they were like stealing from people, they like taking money and stuff. So now Turtle WoW has turned out to be a martyr. But if you're like a private server veteran and you know the whole history, people hated Elysium. So that's why Shenna didn't go by Shenna. She went by Torta because nobody would have trusted a project from them after what happened. So it's kind of funny. Like if you're like an OG private server guy, like you kind of know like all this stuff. At least I think her name was Torta, which is pretty funny.
coming shutdown. And I mentioned this because of two things. One, in the terms of the lawsuit, Blizzard wanted all the data and everything to do with the project. And two, we have a fairly similar situation to the Nostalria shutdown leading to Classic 2019. So this is just about 10 years ago now, but there was once a private server named Nostalrius that was just simply a vanilla private server. It was the old version of
It's
the game,
crazy
as
that people
closely
don't
as
know
they could
this.
recreate it. And
Like so many people don't know the history of private servers and how we got Classic WoW and how we got to this point. Like I really wish somebody would make a movie like factually documenting like everything that happened, all the steps, like behind the scenes. There's not very many people even in the world that like know all the details. Like I know a lot, but like I don't know everything, right? It would be really cool. But like if somebody made like a documentary about like how we got Classic WoW, would be kind of crazy.
it was run pretty well by an independent group of people.
Yeah, I know.
It was fairly stable.
I don't know all of
and
it.
combine that with the fact that
But I know a
Blizzard
lot.
was still adamantly refusing that anybody actually wanted to play it. It became quite popular. And just like Turtle WoW, popular enough that they would become a threat to Blizzard's player base and IP. And so they sent a cease and desist, which they did end up complying to. However, they did also send an invitation to their offices in California where they had a chat relating to vanilla World of Warcraft in some capacity.
Go to Blizzard
Then-
Facebook and like my post. Go to Blizzard Facebook and like my post about Nostalrius. It's the very first post. Got 17 likes. Need more. Come on. Nice.
vanilla World of Warcraft in some capacity. Then, in the next year's BlizzCon, in November of 2017, the announcement of Classic 2019 was made. That ran all the way until 2021, at which point they released level boosts, which is when this highly attractive and intelligent YouTube channel named Mad Season Show predicted the later release of the WoW token, which a portion of the player base adamantly refuted, and that Blizzard would never do such a thing in a million years, at which point the WoW token was later released. And then all of these people disappeared into the fucking bush like Homer J. Simpson. But the point here obviously being that there has been a precedent of Blizzard shutting down a popular private server shortly before announcing their own similar server.
Somebody is trolling. See you in Legion. I love Blizzard. Somebody's trolling during the shutdown.
So the salary shut down in 2016, 2017, the Classic announcement, which could precede the Turtle shutdown in 2026, followed with the Classic Plus announcement. Regarding the data, I personally don't know about this one, but some people believe it, so I still wanted to at least mention it. But some people think because Blizzard is getting all of the data of the various features of Turtle WoW, that they're just going to copy paste it. I don't believe this for two reasons. First being, I highly doubt it would be that simple. As far as I understand, Turtle WoW's foundation was 1.12 Vanilla WoW, which was the old client that Blizzard has
Yeah. When Mad Season is 1,000% right about this. It just doesn't work that way.
said in the past that they can't go back to because it has all of these old security vulnerabilities and other various exploits.
Yeah.
And number two, I think, is that they're probably just pretty set on doing their own thing. Would kind of be a blow to their ego to just copy paste a private server. So I don't know. I just have my...
I mean, I think here's the problem. This is the honest to God truth. Most of this stuff that they're showing as like things they want to do in Turtle or have done in Turtle, most of these things are no-brainers. Like the concept of like completing Ashara is a no-brainer, right? The concept of opening up Gilneas and going through the Greymane Wall is kind of a no-brainer. It's not necessarily being, or Hyjal, right? Like this isn't necessarily something creative. It's a cool idea that I think most people agree with. This is what people want to see. Now, there's some things like Blackstone Isle. There's some things like this that are completely original to what Turtle, the private server, did. And this is coming from me. I'm a private server veteran. Okay, we love private servers. At least we used to, right? I haven't really played on one in a long time, right? Because I can't stream it anymore. But like that's literally how I came back to WoW. If it wasn't for private servers, I never would have played WoW again. However, with all that being said, I'm not an idiot. I know how the world works. I know how life works. This image, it goes for the private servers too, right? And this is why they legally have precedent to be able to shut it down. At the end of the day, like, yeah, technically Blizzard is taking technically the private servers are taking the IP of somebody else and using it for their own yada, yada, yada. It sucks, but it is, that's why they have the ability to do that. You just have to hope that they do all this and better.
and other
Now, will they? We'll see.
various exploits. And number two, I think, is that they're probably just pretty set on doing their own thing. Would kind of be a blow to their ego to just copy paste a private server. So I don't know. I just have my doubts in that regard, but I still wanted to mention it because some people have brought it up. So we have Classic Plus surveys, Season of Discovery experiment, the yearbook tease, the 2026 State of Azeroth weird tease thing, cryptic developer blogs, private server, precedents. Of course, there's nothing rock solid yet, but I do believe that there is enough information all pointing towards one thing. To me, the most convincing sign is the eyes emoji with the plus signs. Dude,
I tweeted this and it's just like as a meme, but it's so funny.
It's coincidental. So I personally would be pretty surprised if they didn't announce it at this year's BlizzCon, especially since they teased it so much in various different ways. Unless
that's true.
They're maybe going to do another Netflix series that will never materialize, or a mobile version of Classic that's monetized in borderline illegal ways, which should still be entertaining. So it's a win-win in my book. So this all just leaves one question. Will it be good? Is it going to be Classic Plus or Turtle Minus, as my friend Clubs likes to put it? Again, if you scroll down, you'll probably find the general sentiment in the comments. People, for some inexplicable, totally unreasonable reason, have lost faith in Blizzard. I'm not really sure why. I think that they're personally doing a bang-up job. I mean, just look at the impeccable quality of content they've been putting out.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
What even is this? What is this from? I don't even know.
Maybe if they add an 8th form of monetization, they could surpass the One Punch Man levels of animation. The unalienable fact is that it has the potential to be good, which was shown quite well with Turtle WoW, of course. So that leaves the actual question of, is Blizzard able to realize that potential, which we'll have to see. I do think that it will be pretty heavily monetized. I don't really think there's any way of getting around that. It's just kind of the culture of the company.
I think it probably also I hope not. But like, dude, these.
No. Jeff Kaplan actually came out and spilled the tea with a lot of the background shenanigans that went on with Blizzard at the time of his departure. Surely you know him.
To be fair, it's not the same Blizzard of 5 years ago, but even so.
Mr. Tiggle Biddies himself, longtime World of Warcraft developer and the father of Overwatch. Overwatch was pretty much his baby, and he shared a story recently of their CFO, their chief financial officer, bringing him into his office and saying, okay, you need to hit these profit margins or people are going to be fired, and it's going to be your fault that they're going to be fired.
For me, like what sort of ultimately broke me in my Blizzard career was I got called in the CFO's office. And he sits me down and he says, he gives me a date, which at the time was 2020 and was going to slip to 2021, but at the time it was 2020. And he said, Overwatch has to make in 2020.
This is, by the way, this is insane to me. This is so insane to me because how do you predict that? You can't predict how much money something is going to make. You can make an educated sort of prediction, like projection. Sorry, you can make an educated projection to some degree. Yes, I understand that, but you don't know exactly how much money it's going to make. You know what I mean? That to me, that's like insane.
And then every year after that, it needs a
like you can
revenue.
kind of forecast a little bit, but like it's like, come on, like you didn't make however $1 billion or whatever, you know?
In 2020. And then every year after that, it needs a recurring revenue.
Like,
and then
this
he
is crazy.
says to me, if it doesn't do dollars,
True, the context matters.
we're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you.
That is especially crazy.
And that was just the biggest fuck you moment I had in my career. It felt surreal to be in that condition. And as somebody who's worked on a lot of games, made a lot of games, you get in these meetings where they're like, Fortnite has 1,400 people working on it. If you just hire 1,400 people and make it free to play, we'll make that money, right? And that was, I had believed I would never work anyplace but Blizzard. I loved it. It was a part of who I was. And I felt I was a part of it. And I literally thought I would retire from the place. I never thought the day would come.
That particular CFO is no longer working at Blizzard, but I do believe that this is sort of what lies at the core of the company today. It's just this sort of brutal corporate atmosphere that really stifles any sort of creative integrity.
Hey, you! Stop bullying the multi-billion-dollar company!
So, along with the Classic Plus announcement, I am also expecting level boost, WoW tokens, other similar forms of monetization. Probably not at launch, but most likely in the months following the launch, which I think is just something that you're going to have to accept if you want to play it, is my prediction. People have been asking if I'll play it. I don't know. I haven't actually played in over a year. Ever since I got into OSRS, it's been more than enough for me, but I've kind of grown to accept that I wouldn't be able to resist the heroin unless it just looks really terrible. But yeah, we'll see. No promises either way. Thanks again to the sponsor of this video, War Thunder. Play for free today on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile by using my link in the description.
We love Mad Season. Mad Season, longtime friend, great dude all around. We love Mad Season. I mean, I think he makes a lot of fair points here, right? Like, unfortunately for Blizzard, but fortunately for us, I think for a lot of people, like kind of coming from the private server community, and like for me, I'm like, you know, OG private server community, not from Turtle. Like, I understand what the expectation is. And I'll tell you, a lot of where that push for classic WoW came from originally came from Nostalrius, and like that whole sort of storyline. Doing the progressive itemization, doing the Blizz-like patch cycle and all these things. So back in like 2018, 2019, whenever Classic got announced and all this stuff happened, like I had a chance to like actually go to Blizzard and it was very private, right? But I would talk to them a lot, and I kept in touch with people like Omar Gonzalez like very, very closely, and was regularly talking about like the development of Classic and what people would want. And one of the things that came up is I pushed for progressive itemization really, really hard. The concept of the items getting updated with like the normal patch cycle, they didn't budge on that one, unfortunately, and I think that was a key element of what made those private servers so good. One of the other key elements was the amount of patches that there were. Vanilla WoW had 11 patches, and while you didn't exactly need 11 patches, you definitely needed like probably 8. You needed a lot of patches for a consistent content release, but also to separate some things out, keeping things interesting, and also like having like content wise, but then also like the scaling of the game. Originally, Blizzard only wanted to have 4 patches for Classic WoW. They wanted to have 1 patch that was for each like flagship raid, kind of treating it like retail. And this is something that they've done in retail for years. 1 patch equals 1 new raid tier. They wanted Molten Core on launch. So really this is like 3 patches, right? So 1 on launch, and then they wanted BWL like 6 months later. And then they wanted AQ like 6 months after that, and 6 months like roughly, right? And then 6 months after that, they would do Nax. And then maybe after 6 months, they would do, who knows, right? Maybe they go Burning Crusade or whatever. What I said is, this is gonna kill your game. Like, this is just not gonna work. I said you need 8, but at the bare minimum, you need 6 patches. And they actually ended up budging. They said, okay, we're not gonna do this, you're right. And then they ended up doing 7. So pretty good. Because if they ended up doing 4 patches, I think it would have just killed the game like straight up. Vanilla is very different than how it is in the later expansions. Like even Burning Crusade is like 4 patches. Wrath, I think, is 3. But vanilla specifically, like how you need to treat vanilla, it's very delicate. All MMOs are very delicate. It's like stuff like that. And there's a lot more, right? I'm going to kind of keep it to this video, but I think this is a great video for Mad Season, man. I mean, I think a lot of people think it's going to come at BlizzCon. I think if they do bring it at BlizzCon, they've teased it a bunch. I might be a crackhead, but I feel like it wouldn't make sense for them to put out a Wrath Anniversary and Classic Plus at the same time or same year or something. I think overlapping them would be dumb. But then again, Blizzard just happens to like keep doing this thing where they just like obviously make the wrong decision. Who knows? My prediction is that they'll have Classic Plus not next year, not in 2027, but it will be 2028, and then 2027 will be their Wrath of the Lich King year. Anyways, everybody should check out Mad Season. We love Mad Season here. He's a good friend for a long time. It was a great video. You can get a link to his video in the description below if you guys want to go see that. So go watch that. Go leave him a comment, leave him a like. Thank you guys for watching. I do a lot of different stuff on this channel. You can scroll through my YouTube and you'll see all the VODs for all my live streams are here. I'm multi-stream, but then also I do a lot of classic WoW talk. That's kind of how I got started years and years ago. But then also I do a lot of IRL and other games and just a lot of different things here. So hope you guys like the channel. Hope you guys like being a part of the community. If you want to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.